Welcome to the CEO of You. You're locked in with Taib, Mr. Sixthman. I run a media company doing photo and video for brands, content creation, all that kind of thing. I get your podcast cancelled or whatever, but girls lack accountability.
Oh,
The female gender lacks accountability to a ridiculous extent. Girls don't do personal development. That's why you have girls that act like they're 16, because girls don't have to grow up. But all in all, guys have to develop. Girls don't. Girls can be met where they are. Guys don't get met where they are. Social media is very much a pack mentality that people are like, oh, girls are like this, or guys are like this, or the reason that they follow that is because of social media. You feel like, rah, this is how people feel. Look into the insights on any post you make. The amount of people that have seen your post and not commented on it. So you're seeing what 2,000 people think and pointing that on 100,000 people. You know how it's like when people say they're making a living, but they're not living. It's like, how can you make a living, but you don't live? So what are you doing? Yeah, cool, you got all this money in your bank account, but when's the last time you and your girl went to do anything? When was the last time you said hi to your kid? It isn't, I have a job and I have a business and I have a girl. It's, I have a job, I have a business, I have a girl. Do you know what I mean? They're all on the same level.
Thank you for coming on, Teo, Mr. Sixthman.
Thank you.
We actually spoke properly yesterday when I asked you what you do for a living. If you want to tell us that again.
Cool. So as in like both of them, or?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So day job is for my day job, I work as a assistant project manager. So I work in an engineering company, literally just helping out managing the projects and stuff like that. Obviously, like I said, I obviously run a media company as well. That's pretty much turned into a second day job. So I pretty much just have 2 full-time jobs at this point. But yeah.
Do you ever have a day off? Nah.
I can't lie, days off doesn't happen. But obviously it's like, when it comes to having a day off, it's like, you know when people say if you do what you love kind of thing, that's bullshit. I can't lie to you. Like obviously, yeah, when you're doing what you love, it's, oh wait, I forgot to ask, is it like a swearing thing?
No, you can swear, bro.
Swear free.
So yeah, when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's, yeah, you do what you love, but especially when you are doing something that you love, you're expending so much more energy. So it's like, let's say, for example, let's say you're working a job you don't like. If your manager asks you to stay 2 hours overtime, what are you saying?
Nah,
bro.
But if you're doing something you love, and you're like, stay 2 hours overtime, you're like, yeah, why not? You say that next time, another 2 hours overtime, another 2 hours overtime, another 2 hours overtime. That stuff adds up, I can't lie. It takes a toll on your physical health. So you definitely do need to still take care of yourself when you're doing all that. But I say that, but I still don't take days off. Because I mean, obviously, yeah, like if you're not shooting, you're editing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
So
there's always something to do.
Always something to do, and there's always something more to learn as well. Especially because obviously, yeah, like I've been doing a lot of content creation for businesses and stuff like that. But because I've been trying to get into a lot more cinematography, directing, it's almost like you're learning a whole new craft again. Do you know what I mean? So
Okay then. So what is it that made you want to pick up the camera?
what made me want to pick up the camera? Money.
Money.
money. I can't lie. Yeah. So originally, I've always been quite entrepreneurial. I hate when people, because now I used to think I was special. Yeah. Because like, you know when man did like the whole selling in school and that.
Yeah.
I was one of those people, and obviously, I'm not saying I was the first person to ever do that, even in my school. Like, I wasn't the first person, but it comes to a thing where it's like almost every single person you meet now says they used to sell in school, but ask them where they selling to the teachers. There you go.
I swear we couldn't even do that in our school, bro. We couldn't even do that.
I always loved that. I can't lie, because everybody was selling, everybody's getting the little stuff off to their friends and that. But I used to sell to teachers. Like teachers would actually come and buy my stock.
That is mad.
Do you know what I mean?
Your school's corrupt.
No, but it was just me. Like, and I was like, I feel like that's the first part of business as well. It's like you build relationships with people, innit? It's like if you're, let's say, because I can't, like, usually people that are selling and stuff like that, I'm not gonna say they're bad kids or whatever, but like they're people that don't usually concentrate in school, kind of thing. Like, obviously you're not a bad kid, but maybe you're not the most engaged or whatever. So for me, I've actually always been quite academic. So my teachers already liked me, if that makes sense. So when I'm selling to them, I'll be like, oh, miss, do you like, what kind of crisp do you like? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, like, yeah, here you go, 50p or whatever. Man, they're gonna give it to you. They're not gonna take you to the head of the year. Like, they like you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, and even when people try to, I remember there's one time, this one dickhead. That's the only time. The only time I've ever got grabbed. He told the teacher. Obviously, like whenever they find out you're selling, they're gonna take everything you have in it.
Yeah.
So he literally called the guy. I was like, "Oh, this guy's selling." So the teacher came up, and all I was just shit out. Cool. Which one would you want? And obviously, so as in like, I'm almost trying to give him something to like leave me alone, like bribe him a little bit.
Yeah.
So obviously, I just wanted to give it. I can't like he did take like 2 or 3 packets, which was more than I wanted. But it's better than him taking everything.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
So and that's literally the only time I've even come close to getting grabbed. I can't lie.
No way, a man had to bribe him off.
Yeah.
Honestly, but no, I can't lie. As much as that felt cool, it was still kind of small time because I'm hearing about people like they're selling in multiple schools, like they have runners. Although I've always never understood that because how
How are you in a net school, bro?
Yeah, it's just
mad
weird. But and also for the people actually doing it, I don't understand why they're doing it. Because for me, cool. I go to Asda in the morning. I buy a 6-pack for £2. Sell each one for 50p. That's like what £3 in total. That's only a £1 profit. So if I'm taking that and I've got somebody else doing the selling for me, what are they getting out of it? So I've never understood that. I can't lie.
You must be boss man's son or something, and you know boss man get the stock for hella cheap. So you must be taking the stock off him or something,
Fam,
man.
do you know what it was? You know what it was? I probably shouldn't say that, but you know, like you go into a store, you got the reduced labels.
Yeah. Oh no.
Slap a little 15p sticker on the thing.
You're different.
No, you just had to do what you had to do, man. It was fun. I just did it for fun, but no, it was definitely a good experience. You did learn about. I feel like it was something because obviously you have break time, you have lunchtime, innit? Obviously, when most men are going into the thing for break time, you can't go into break time because break time's peak selling times. If you go in and grab your little sandwich at break time,
You're missing
all
out.
the stock's gone. Like everybody else has been able to sell out. Now you're walking around with your bag at lunchtime and nobody wants anything. Do you know what I mean? So you couldn't eat. You literally have to go around selling, and then if you can sell out your stock at break time, you can have a good lunchtime. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like that comes into business as well, innit? Like your first priority is patterning what you need to pattern. If that makes sense. Then you can go and chill afterwards. But I feel like a lot of people when they start a business, and I feel like it's like you know when people say stuff about quitting your job, like if you quit your job you can focus on your thing. But I've always heard people. Like the first thing before I heard that, I was always like, realistically, when you're patterning a craft or you're trying to learn something new, 2 hours a day is more than enough time. So if you're really telling me you have, even if you work, let's say you work an 8-hour job, it takes you an hour to get back and from work and whatever. That's 10 hours out of your day. You need to sleep. That's 18 hours out of your day. Cool. Let's say you want to, but you can't find 2 hours in your day to learn about what you're saying you want to spend your whole life on.
I hear it.
Did you really want to do that? Do you know what I mean? So if you're quitting your job because you want to be more consistent, but you can't even put in 2 hours a day, then even when you quit your job, you're just going to be chilling playing PS5.
Yeah, you're going to be
anyway.
slacking. Innit?
You're going to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, you need to have a good reason to quit your job. You need to have certain things in place before you quit your job. And you need to have a certain level of self-discipline. Because when you have time, it becomes worse. Because you have so much time, you're like, I have all the time in the world to pattern this. You're even less likely to pattern it now. Does that make sense?
Now, your mindset sounds like you've been different from school.
No, I wouldn't say...
Nah.
Because
The whole selling thing, selling to teachers, you knew that you had to have a relationship there and the chances of selling to them is way better.
Yeah.
So, like, what was your first business? Like,
That was my first business.
that was...
Actually...
Would you say that was your first step in entrepreneurship?
Definitely, in terms of like, even then I can't like I said, I just did it for fun. Like it was just there's just something because I was actually thinking about this like recently as well. Like, man, like back in like caveman times and that, people had to like hunt and gather. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays you have your 9 to 5, you have your jobs, you don't really need to hunt and gather. But entrepreneurship is the closest thing we still have to hunting and gathering.
Why do you say that?
That is true.
Because you need to go out and make it. Like you go out, you leave your house, you make your money, or you don't eat.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? That's literally hunting.
You
and
have to
gathering.
find your clients or you don't get paid, bro.
Yeah. So I feel like that's literally the closest thing we have to that at the moment, which is why I feel like it's in just some people's natures. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna say I'm definitely not no biz whiz or do you know what I mean? Like you had people like not Wolf of Wall Street. What did he call it? Wolf of Walthamstow. Nathan, I don't remember his last name. He pretty much had like a lock on like bare different schools in Walthamstow.
I think I've seen that. And didn't he go on BBC News and
yeah.
everything?
Yeah, I
He
think
was
it was
speaking
like-
about it, and I'm sure he had a picture of him and his stock, and it was just
It's
crazy.
ridiculous, bro.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, you
mad.
had people that existed like that. Do you know what I mean? And even obviously, I grew up in South London. Like you got every single person's doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't say it made me different. I think it's just you need to know what, because like I said, if you have that many people selling the same things, what's important is you need to have. So for me, like some people didn't really understand why I was doing that at the time. But like, I would have people that I knew, okay, cool. Like, let's say, if I break up into a packet of McCoys, yeah, because that was my main thing, innit? So, in
That's
the
a
meat pack.
McCoys, you know. I heard of them in a
McCoys
long
are
time,
Russians.
bro.
Honestly, with the McCoys, yeah, you had the 2 packs of Thai sweet chili.
Ooh,
You had the 2 packs of roast chicken, and you had the bacon one,
I ain't
right?
touching the bacon.
The bacon one wasn't really selling like that.
Yeah.
But I knew I go to this girl, she's definitely gonna want to. So she never says no to a Thai sweet chili. This one never says no to a roast chicken. Do you know what I mean? So once you had that, if you pretty much run to that person at the start of break time, you're selling out by the end. Do you know what I mean? You got your donuts. You know this guy likes his donuts. You know, if you give that young guy, all right, cool, give me 3 for £1 instead of 2 for £1.
Yeah,
But do you know what I mean? And one thing I did, I also let people have credit as well. Even if I knew you, and even if you didn't have the cash on you, you'd be like, all right, bust me a donut, I'll pay you 50p tomorrow. Obviously, yeah, I can't. Like sometimes people didn't pay. What am I supposed to do? Run them down for 50p? But most of the time, people would pay. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, like being able to have that trust, that relationship with the people that you're selling to, makes them more loyal to you. So it's like even if somebody else comes up to them, oh, I got McCoys for you, like no, they're good. Do you know what I mean? Like their guys coming. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about. I feel like everything in life is just about relationships. Like being able to build the right relationships with people and servant leadership. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Please, what is it?
Explain.
There's like 5 levels of leadership. Like I say that, but I can't. It's like this guy called John C. Maxwell. He has this thing called 5 levels of leadership. I only remember the first and last one, if I'm being honest. But the bottom one is leadership out of position. So like, you know, when you go into work, you have a manager at work.
Yeah.
That guy's your leader. The only reason he's your manager is because he has the only reason he's your leader is because he has the title of manager. Do you know what I mean? If he didn't have that title of manager, nobody would listen to him because he's a waste man. Do you know what I mean? But you might have that one colleague that has no title, but anytime he speaks, everybody listens. Do you know what I mean? That's because people respected him. So when you actually build something out of respect, like people, you have a much higher level of leadership than people that just have the title. So you might have your manager say something to you, but the other guy says something different. You're going to listen to the other guy because you respect him. He has a higher level of leadership, so people are more willing to follow him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you're able to build relationships with people that they respect you, they like you, your influence grows, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why...
So what's the top level of leadership?
That's
a very is
like,
that
you know what?
a book?
Let me-
Sorry,
let me-
is
let me-
that a book?
Yeah, it's a book.
That book sounds very interesting. What's
me
it
know.
called?
Sounds sick.
John C. Maxwell, 5 levels of leadership. Before I say anything stupid on this podcast, let me just make sure. The 5 levels of leadership by John C. Maxwell.
There's free on audio still.
So number 1, the lowest one is position. That's people, like I said, the people that like it's just their title. Their title gives them thing. The next one is permission. So people that have a relationship with you, so they want to listen to you. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like maybe your girl says, "Oh, buy me this," and like because like you have a relationship with her, you're like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." Do you know what I mean? The next level is somebody that has results. So you know when people say that you should listen to people that has the results that you want, that gives you a certain level of leadership over them. Do you know what I mean? Because they know you have what they want, what you want from them. So they're gonna follow you. If that makes sense.
I get you.
The next one is people reproduction. So it's like, let's say I nice you today, and like I proper bust you. You know what I mean?
Like give you all your lenses and that.
Yeah. But let's say I actually do like a mad solid. If I come to you tomorrow and say, bro, I need you to do this for me, the chances are you're gonna do it. Because I'm doing stuff for you, you're gonna now turn around and do stuff for me. And then the highest level is called pinnacle, and so yeah, that's what I was saying about the respect thing. So that highest level is when people actually respect you. And I feel like it actually builds up. People are going to respect you because you have a certain position. And that position builds a relationship with them. And then through that relationship, they actually want to help you. They see the results that you have. Maybe they want your position as well.
They trust you.
Yeah, exactly. You have that certain level of trust. You have that certain level of people want to now follow you, and it actually all builds up. Now they're doing stuff for you as well. That's what servant leadership is. Because when you have that thing about you're either a boss or a leader.
Yeah.
There's like that image. A boss is somebody that sits back and lets himself be pulled by the people around them. Yeah. So a boss says, "You lead me there." Do you know what I mean? And you pull them there.
Yeah.
A leader is somebody that stands at the front of the pack, and they're walking in this direction. The people are walking with them. Do you know what I mean? That you're literally leading. But a lot of people kind of mix that up, if that makes sense.
Would you say you're a leader?
Would I say I'm a leader?
Yeah.
See, my thing is I would say no to that, but I feel like that's just a mindset thing as well. I feel like I'm somebody who I've never necessarily seen myself as a leader, but I've been able to lead people if I need to, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I always come with a certain level of credibility. I always come with I'm happy to help people. Do you know what I mean? So they're always happy to help me as well. So I've never really considered myself a leader of sorts. Do you know, when I think of a leader, I think of a man that's like you walk into a room, everybody kind of, do you know what I mean?
Stands up.
That's just my mental image of a leader. I just don't feel like I necessarily have that, but I definitely have what it takes to influence people to do what I need them to do. But that only comes because I'm also helping people as well.
Okay then, but so you mentioned at the start you also have your own business and you also work for a company. Wouldn't you say you're a leader for having your own business and actually
that's what I was saying about the mindset thing.
To?
Because the thing is, I genuinely am a leader. Like, I lead people on a daily basis. If I get somebody to come to a shoot for me, they're going to do what I need them to do. If I'm getting somebody to assistant direct for me on a project, I'm getting somebody to do a bit of a run-in for me, I'm leading them. It's just mindset. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's just not something I'm necessarily used to yet, which is why I don't see it. Do you know what I mean? When it's like I feel like people see me as a leader, but I don't see myself as a leader yet. It's kind of dumb.
Why? Do you reckon you feel like you're shying away from responsibility? Because obviously, when you are a leader and you are leading things, there's people relying on you. And
no, 100%.
So
I don't shy away from that.
You feel like you're shying away from responsibility?
No, because I'll take the responsibility and I'll shoulder it.
So then why don't you say you're not a leader?
I don't know.
That there must be a reason.
I think it just comes down to, because the thing about me, I feel like this is one thing. Like, I'm an honest person, if that makes sense. Like, I could easily come onto this and be like, yeah, I'm a leader, but I'm developing. Do you know what I mean? I'm growing every single day, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to develop myself personally. I'm trying to become a better person, trying to become the best version of yourself, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So for me, part of that does come with a level of building your confidence a bit more, building a sense of, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I feel like I have bad imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
That would make a lot of sense.
That makes sense.
Can I paint a picture then?
Yeah.
Just to understand this. Okay, what I think is, just based off what you're saying, this is me just making a form of a general opinion. I think you are a leader because leaders always start a business and you've led your business to where it's going right now, doing great things. However, I feel like you don't want to say you're a leader, obviously, because maybe imposter syndrome, but I feel like you don't fully believe in yourself. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah. Because I feel like you just don't want to say, because if someone say, yeah, like, I'm a leader, you would genuinely believe they're a leader and then look at the results, look what they're doing. And you said to me, yo, I'm a leader, I got my business, I'm doing this, I'm taking things in my own hand. And this is what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah. But, but I feel like you've said you're a leader, but it's like you've shied away from it. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like you should be confident, just own it. Yeah, probably. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not embarrassed to like say that I'm not finished yet. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not a perfect person yet. Do you know what I mean? I'm 23. Like, cool, yeah, with this generation, we feel like we need to be in a certain place. And I'm not saying that I don't feel part. I definitely feel part of that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I definitely want to have certain things. I definitely feel hard on myself for not having certain things in place. But I'm 23.
Do you feel like, do you feel like, I want to ask this question to you as well. Do you feel like we suffer, because we are all young men in this room, at 21, 22, 23. Do you feel like we are do you feel under pressure with this generation to be somewhere and actually doing some shit in life?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, I kind of did before.
Okay.
But as time went on, I just realized, like, bro, everyone makes it seem like we're all under pressure. You should be there. You should be doing this. But then I feel like that's just a social media thing for our generation. People make it look like they're working 24/7, bro. So when you're chilling, you're like, oh my God, I'm slacking and my man's there doing this. That's why he's able to fly there. But it's like, nah, bro, if you seen his month before, he was slacking off as well. Like, no one can really work 24/7 all the time.
There's definitely a level, and it's something that I've actually been trying to train our mind. Because, like, you know, when it's like, even if you were to say about, you know, when people say, oh, this generation, like, even if it's even talking about dating or something like that, people are like, oh, girls are like this, or guys are like this, or the reason that they follow that is because of social media. Do you know what I mean? When you go onto a blog page or something, and you go onto the comments on a certain post, and then you feel like there's a bunch of girls saying this thing, agreeing with this, or disagreeing with this, or there's a bunch of guys agreeing with this, you feel like, rah, this is how people feel. Realistically speaking, even if you look into your insights, look into the insights on any post you make, the amount of people that have seen your post and not commented on it. So you think it's not going to be the same for a blog page. So yeah, cool. They might have 2,000 comments, but there's probably been 100,000 people that have seen it.
I hear it.
So you're seeing what 2,000 people think and putting that on 100,000 people. That's what social media is.
That's crazy. And you know what's funny about that? So let's say a specific topic was speaking about, and a specific girl who had the same mindset would comment. It would only bring the girls who have the same mindset to comment even more. Whereas a girl who has a completely different mindset towards the topic, and they don't see anyone else mention that, they wouldn't see the need to comment, because they would already know the odds are stacked against them. And
they'll get attacked.
That's what I'm saying. No one wants to get attacked. So then straight away, as a male, you see that, you think, raw, this is just how girls think. When in reality, there is that one girl who still that think, nah, that's not how I think as a girl.
That's what I mean. That's how I feel like you need to speak to people in real life as well, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, social media is very much a pack mentality. Like, the people that comment on social media are all going to be the same type of people. Do you know what I mean? So, and it also becomes a thing where it's like, what are you actually taking in as well? Like, you know, what was that other one? Street blogs or something like that. Is that what it's called? Like, I unfollowed them years ago because everything they posted was just about gang shit or something mad is happening. This person got stabbed. And that's just what people internalize in it. So I just unfollowed that. Like, even Officially Urban, like, they post a lot of funny stuff, but a lot of stuff they post is just whack. I can't even lie. It's just about, like, this person cheated on this person.
How about
my
the
man
Shade Borough?
saying this. I don't even follow Shade Borough.
That
That was
I'm
another
saying,
thing I
You know
unfollowed.
Do you
what?
guys follow
I think that's one of the last pages I actually still currently follow. Like, I unfollowed a bunch of pages, but I'm just bait and Shade Borough is the only two pages.
So do you guys follow like meme pages or anything like that?
Yeah.
You still do?
I still don't follow meme. I wouldn't say meme pages.
I mean,
that's
I haven't
still a
followed a
meme
lot.
page.
But I feel like you do become what you consume. So like, if you was constantly, obviously, you're seeing all that violence and everything, that would just constantly cloud your mind. So I feel like meme pages, especially if you're trying to take your mind to a place of improvement and actually being in a better position for your life, cool. You might follow that on meme page, but pages like that, Shade Boroughs and all them Birmingham News where it's on about bear drama, this and that, I don't feel like they're the pages you want to be seeing.
100%.
Like I said, you're consuming content at a fast rate, and if all you're seeing is drama here, drama there, it's not good for the mind.
I agree with that, because on my TikTok page, bro, oh my days, for some reason I was in my blocked accounts recently, and I was like, why is there so many women here? I realized I went through a stage when I was constantly scrolling TikTok, the stuff that I didn't want to see, I'd block them. Yeah. So anytime I see a woman trying to first trap me, bro, block. Yeah. Get that shit off my page, bro. I don't want to see that.
Bro, I can't lie. There's been, especially in like lockdown, you just open up your explore page, it's just like bare madnesses.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to click not interested, and then it'll start to clean up your feed.
Nah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
And that's how they get you, like places like TikToks, because obviously attention spans decreasing, like you're just constantly looking for the constant dopamine hit. And when you're on TikTok, just constantly scrolling, flicking. You're stuck in that frame. And when you like a post, it's more likely a similar post would come like that.
Yeah,
so if
true.
you're liking girls pictures with the first traps and everything, it's gonna be more constantly. You're gonna come see it. Same as Instagram. Everyone done that thing where like they check your discovery, and then you just see like loads of girls out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's gonna happen if you've obviously previously liked these kind of pictures. Well, that was a very interesting off-topic discussion.
For real. So tell us about the people you've worked with in the creative industry.
See, my mind always goes blank when I think about it.
Why?
But I don't know. It's not even, I feel like just I've been doing this for so long. And I feel like because you get used to certain things.
How long? So long?
I've been doing this for about 4.5 years. I started this, like, I think I launched the business, like officially launched the business on 1st of July, 2018. So it's actually coming up on 5 years now, to be honest. So yeah, I've been doing this for a while, and I've met some pretty cool people, done some pretty cool things. I think after a while, because you become used to it. Like people are people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've worked on production teams for talk shows, like for example, let's say Spill the Juice or something like that. I don't know if you man have ever seen that show.
Yeah.
So it's like you meet the guests, you chill with them, you speak to them. These men are just normal people. Do you know what I mean?
What kind of guests are you talking about? Who?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say certain things. I can't lie.
Oh, swear down.
I actually have no clue. It might not be an issue, but I genuinely have no clue. But it's like, let's say, like, you meet certain celebrities on there, you speak to them, and it's like, yeah, it's just a normal guy, bro. Like, you see it, like, and then it's just, you become used to it. Like, yeah, cool, you meet somebody, like, oh, right, that's my man. As soon as you, okay, now what? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, I don't know if it's kind of like an ego thing. You know how girls, like, when they see a celebrity, they go crazy, they start screaming, but guys have always been like, no, man. Do you know what I mean? They try to make it a thing like that. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like that also becomes internalized to a thing where it's like, you're not gonna hype up another man. Like, obviously, yeah, cool, you can respect a man's craft, but I'm not gonna see anybody and start screaming. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
As a brother to another brother, I'd be like, yo, what's my man doing? What's he doing, bro?
It's kind of like when you meet those celebrities, if you don't have that in your mind, like, oh my God, this is a celebrity, and you actually just speak to them like a human being.
You know what's mad? It's the other day I was live engineering a show, and I was speaking to two guys that showed up. They were guests on the panel, and after they left, I was like, let me check their Instagram. Both of them had blue ticks, 50K followers. I was like, oh,
honestly,
shit.
it's mad.
I didn't even realize.
That's what I'm saying. The amount of times you've been just chilling with somebody on a shoot for hours. You're like, hey, what's your Insta? Yeah.
I was like, no way. I was like, these guys are cool as hell, bro.
Honestly, it's mad. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just need to speak to people in real life, bro. Like, it's just, yeah.
So do you feel like celebrities want to be treated like celebrities or to be treated like normal people?
There's definitely celebrities that want to be treated like celebrities.
Yeah, I
definitely.
imagine.
Like, just, wow, it's such and such. And just,
Yeah, a lot of people get off on that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people love the attention. Yeah. Some people, they don't want the attention, but their craft came with it.
Yeah.
So they just gotta deal with it.
100%. So, yeah, I think...
Are you allowed to say the brands that you've worked with?
The brands that I've worked with.
Yeah, like you've worked with Spill the Juice.
Oh yeah. So obviously I've done some stuff for it wasn't that wasn't my direct client. I was part of a production team under a different production company for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously I've done stuff for ITV. So I've done a documentary for ITV. What else have I done? I've shot for BAFTA, so obviously I've done content creation for BAFTA as well.
Yeah.
you don't know the BAFTA Awards?
Yeah, BAFTA Awards.
BAFTA Awards. They're like massive awards, bro.
I feel like I might know.
I feel like if you saw it, you'd be like, oh,
Probably
Awards.
will.
So obviously I worked with them.
That's a good report. That is what you've done. That's
that moment.
I think it's like there's things that you've done. Like when you work in media, it's so everybody works together. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know when people like you have certain industries where it's like everybody's trying to tear each other down. When you're working in video and photo, it's like you're just one big collective.
Do you want to know why this is crazy? Because we had a podcast before this, and we was like, when you actually go in your direction, what you want to do, your path, you end up meeting people just like you who want to do the same as you, work together and bring you up as you. So what you've just said, you've had that experience. You've had that.
So obviously my thing is like I've worked with people that it wasn't necessarily my shoot, but I've been brought onto a set that there's this person there, or there is for this company. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to necessarily put those names out there because I just feel like that's not my shoot. Do you know what I mean? I can't say I've worked with Thing because it wasn't my shoot. If that
You're
makes
just
sense.
part of the
I've
production.
been there. They've recognized my thing. They rate my thing, but it wasn't me that brought them to that table there. Do you know what I mean? I kind of want when I want to say a name, like I could say not Netflix. Sorry, that's not. Obviously, hopefully soon Netflix. Like, do you know what I mean? I've been applying to a couple things for Netflix and stuff like that. So hopefully soon, if you never hear anything about a Netflix thing again, you can just remove this part. But so obviously I can put out names like ITV. I can put out names like BAFTA because I've gone there off my own back.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? But things like Spilled, like obviously I was working in a production house there, but I don't mind saying stuff like that. But it's like when I just feel like it's not my one to say, if that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how do you go about finding? Would you call them clients? You call them clients, brands, people to
How do I
work with?
find them?
Yeah.
Just reaching out to people. I was actually having this conversation yesterday because obviously we met at the event, the Gen Z event.
You also shoot for them as well.
Obviously, plug in Gen Z.
Shout out Gen
If
Z,
you don't know
man.
Gen Z, get to know Gen Z.
For real.
Entrepreneurial community for Gen Zs, obviously. But so we were at the event for them yesterday. Afterwards, we went to the Aura Lounge in Birmingham, and we were just there. And I was just like, fuck this. So I got up, I went to find a manager, and I spoke to him. I was like, obviously, what I did first is I went through their Instagram page.
Okay.
So I was like,
smart.
all right, cool. You man have this. You man don't have this. You man have this. You man don't have this. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me go find a manager. Went to go find a manager, and I was just like, yo. So I'm a videographer. I've worked with these people. I've done this. I've done this. I've gone through you man's page. I've noticed that you man don't have much of this. And then I was like, would you guys want to potentially have a call? Speaking of which, I need to message my man actually. Would you man like to have a call speaking about potentially doing a deal for content creation? Just like that, that's the new content you have.
That is mad. My man's meant to be chilling, eating with these man at Aura Lounge and drinking. My man still has his work brain on.
Honestly.
Says, let me go talk to the manager.
That's literally how it is. Like, there's been so many people, like, for example, Carl Loco, like I mentioned before. Carl Loco is a rapper from Brixton. He opened up a lounge. Not a lounge, what am I talking about? He opened up a studio, music studio in the heart of Brixton. And as soon as I found out he was opening the studio, I sent him an email like, yo, I do this. I'm a videographer. I've worked with these people. I can come through, do this for you. He said, all right, cool, come through. And from then I was working with them, making content for them and that sort of stuff. It's easy just like that. I mean, even the ITV thing I had, that came off a similar situation. There was like this really big basketball competition called Ball Out. It's like a 3-on-3, literally Ball Out, BALLOUT. It's like a 3-on-3 competition. So happens every summer. Finsbury Park, London, but they also tour around the country. So I looked at their page and I was like, cool, you might have a lot of basketball videos, but Ball Out's almost a festival. It's not just a basketball competition, it's a basketball festival almost. But none of their videos reflected that. All their videos was dunks, this person's dunking, this person's crossing over this person. Cool, that's fun.
There's no life to it or anything.
There's no life to it. So I literally emailed them and I said that. So, and then they said, all right, cool, calm down. And this is the thing, like, they've got volunteers there shooting all that stuff for them for free. No, actually, should I say that? But they've got volunteers coming down shooting stuff for them, and they've invited me to come down on top of that because I had something to offer. I had a unique thing. Like, I've gone and I've seen your pain point, and I've come to you and I've said, all right, cool, I can fix that for you. And now they've invited me to come down when they already had people coming there volunteering.
So when you do work like that, that's obviously you got your money mind on. Do you do work for free and then build a relationship on to paid work?
It depends on
Or
the
do you
client.
offer your service immediately as in, this is how much I'll do it for?
It depends on where you are in your career.
So
It
where
also
you are
depends
right
on
now,
the
if you was to see something, would you say, listen, I'll do
Right
this
now,
paid
the
work?
chances of me doing something for free, very slim.
Very slim.
Very, very
What
slim.
about when you're starting out?
100%.
Free.
Bro, okay, I don't know if I should say what I was about to say. bro, I was just about to say, I was selling myself like a prostitute. Bro, literally, like, you know that video, fam, you want some business?
Yeah.
Bro, that was me. Fam, anybody, bro, shout me.
You got some videography, bro.
Fam,
So
honestly,
is that how you say? Is that how you came up? You were
Yeah.
just not
Literally, bro, like-
selling yourself basically to everyone,
honestly, that's
offering
literally,
free work.
just dash it out, bro. Just
So
keep
would you
dashing out,
recommend
keep
that for
dashing out,
like
keep-
starting videographers?
Yeah, 100%.
But
100%.
would people respond to you in a serious manner though? Because you're offering
At
free
first, no.
work, but you'd have no like CV.
Portfolio.
But that's why it's free. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
it's
get you.
free because you have nothing to lose. Cool, yeah, you might lose an hour or two if let's say you open up a spot or something. Let's say you open up a new restaurant, and I'm like, alright, cool, I'll shoot your stuff for free. Maybe I'm gonna be with you for 6 hours. That 6 hours that you haven't paid me for anything. You got a bunch of content. Maybe you don't like the content, but if you don't like the content, you don't like the content. If you do like the content, you've got content for how many weeks to be posting on your thing. How many people is that going to bring in for you?
True.
Whereas if you didn't, all you've lost is 6 hours, but you've lost zero business.
True.
Do you know what I mean? I haven't affected your business in any way. So why would you say no? It's kind of like that. So being able, so that's obviously like definitely recommend that when it comes to coming. I feel like one thing about business is having audacity. Audacity is the number one skill you can have running a
What do you
business.
mean by that?
Because
Are you talking when you're pricing yourself or?
everything.
Yeah, I
Literally
feel like
everything.
APM touched on this and he was like, bro, you have to have audacity in this world.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Act for anything. you
Like
think
deep
you
it.
can
Like if you're like, let's say for example for myself, I had zero formal training. I picked up a camera by myself. I decided to do this, but nobody asked me to do this. Nobody sent me to do nothing. But the only way is because I had the audacity to say, I want to do this for you. Do you know what I mean? I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And then people start saying yes. Do you know what I mean? But if you don't have the audacity to ask for that in the first place, then it's like, to have the audacity to even start a business in the first place is a lot, you know?
Yeah,
Obviously, it becomes easier because there's so many people that with their own business. It's slightly easier today, but to have the audacity to say, I'm going to build my own thing, that has a certain level of audacity to say, I'm going to build my own thing. And I'm going to get you as a client.
See, do you not realize the leadership in yourself? Bro? Just say
I know,
that's
innit?
what I'm
This is
saying.
what
Like,
I
this
mean,
man said
bro.
he's not a leader, bro. This man really said I'm not a leader.
I can't lie. When he said he was not a leader, I just said this nigga changed shit.
You're lying, bro. Like the fact that
Like, we
you've
spoke to him
just
before.
said what audacity is, and then said, "Yo, wait a sec, isn't this shit just linking with a leader?" Like, yo, like the fact that you have the audacity to go in a path that you've never been down before and do it so confidently, like, bro, this brother's a leader, fam.
I know, innit? No, but
I don't know.
how did you go about pricing your work? Like, cool,
first?
yeah, like you dashed out free work, but then there's a point where you're like, I need to get paid for my time
Bro,
now.
I was doing like £50. Literally, just like, I think that was the first price I
Like
actually charged. Just
like a £50 day rate.
Bro, anything. You calm down, I'd do anything. Just give me 50, bro.
Were they paying for you travel as well on top of the 50 or just straight 50?
Just 50. Just 50.
Bro, and when did you increase your price though? Like,
Do you know what it was, yeah? I did, so there was this couple that I did it was one of the girl's birthday or anniversary or whatever it was. It was a lesbian couple. And so obviously, usually like sometimes you have that male-female dynamic, right? So there was the girl that she was a bit more butch than the other girl, right? And
Sorry?
Is that a bad word to say?
A bit more what?
Butch. I don't know if that's... No, because you know what it is. Like,
what does that even mean? You're talking hench.
Like, no. I said butch is just like a bit more like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not necessarily physically hench, but you have that energy.
That's what I'm saying. When I
Yeah,
said butch, I'm thinking, there's no way he's been like.
I was a bit long.
Actually, no, I don't know if that's a bad thing to say.
I don't know either.
Nah,
I didn't know what that meant.
You know what?
I mean zero disrespect to
Say,
anybody
nah.
at all.
Carry on from the lesson couple. Don't say the
Cool,
word
cool.
butch. Go thinking,
So,
yo,
yeah.
that's something I say to a dating. Like, don't be butch. Yo, don't.
So yeah, no, there was so obviously it was a lesbian couple I was shooting for, and it was I think it was the girl's birthday. So I came down £50, did a little shoot for them. But the thing was,
Him?
them.
Oh.
So it's like the thing was that I came down £50. I felt like the girl already didn't respect me.
Okay.
Because I've come in with that £50 price point. She's like, what? All right, cool, bet. Come through. So I've gotten there now. I think they were late. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they were late. But as soon as they got there, it's like, why aren't you shooting? It's like, bro, you just got here. What do you mean? And then when you're shooting, then she's now doing weird stuff. Like, I do it like this, do it like that. It's like, bro, you've asked me to come here, and now you're trying to take charge of the thing. Like, cool, yeah, you're the client, you're paying the money, but there's this thing called creative license.
Yeah.
You need to, if you've paid somebody to do something for you, it's because you trust them to do it.
True.
So you should give me the creative license to do the job you pay me to do. And in general, no matter where you are in your career, if you feel like somebody's disrespecting your craft, you shouldn't continue. And I feel like, and that shoot is what made me recognize it. Because, and I've always had this thing, like, I don't do necessarily hood stuff with my camera and all that sort of stuff. So I remember I was shooting, I'm thinking, bro, this is a birth. The girl put her middle fingers up at the camera, and something inside me was like, yeah, that's it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, that's it. Like, I'm not doing this stuff no more, bro. What is this? Like, I'm just here. I'm here to take like nice pictures of somebody's birthday, and somebody's swearing at me through my camera. I don't know. So I've just never liked that. I've just never liked that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as I felt I got there, I was waiting on them. As soon as they got there, they were being disrespectful. I feel like we were even arguing about the price. I think she tried to reduce it afterwards.
Yo, £50 already cheap as it is.
Exactly.
Bro.
I think I'm pretty sure she was trying to reduce it. This was years ago, so I'm actually struggling to remember the details of it. But she was trying to reduce the price afterwards, saying something about I think there was something she didn't like or whatever, so she wanted to reduce the price even further. And I'm like, no, it's 50. Do you know what I mean?
Did she end up paying you the 50?
Yeah. She ended up paying me the 50. But it was just like the amount of stress that I went through to just, and for £50.
Mad, innit?
Nah.
Did you ever have any clients that kind of refused to pay or didn't pay? No.
All right. Have you ever had the, just based on what you just said, going off what you said, have you ever had the point where obviously you have that creative license, you are the professional at what you do, people are paying for your service. Have you ever had a client try and be like, no, I want it done this way, even though it's meant to be done this way best?
You do always have people like that.
And how do you handle it as well?
It's just, you need to give people their space. So if, let's say, it depends on what it is. Like, I feel like if what you say is about to impact negatively on the project, I'll tell you. But if it's like a singer, it's like, we're about to do a shoot. Let's say I'm running this podcast for you guys. Yeah. Let's say you decide you want, I don't know, let's say I'm saying that the best thing to do for the set design is you need a space that's this big, you need to have these kind of things in the background, and then you're like, no, I want this in the background. And I'm thinking, that doesn't really, but whatever. It's your set, it's your show.
Oh, so you let it run?
But if it becomes a thing where it's like, I want to have this, and I want to have this, and I want to have this, and it's like, that's detrimental to the shoot. Because now, yes, this is your show, but my name's on it. Okay. If what you're doing, you wouldn't be proud to put your name on it, that's when you need to start saying, no, that doesn't work. And I feel like there is a balance. Some creative people are weird, I can't lie. Like, they treat their stuff as if they're God, do you know what I mean? Like, they'll start acting a bit too stush with they're not really trying to give any leeway to the client. That's not how it works. Yes, you're creative, you're in your craft, you're in your bag, whatever. But this person is also paying you to come down and do this. So you are providing a service to them. Like, service is to serve somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as you don't have a boss, for that couple hours, that person is your boss. They've asked you to do something, you do it. But because you are also a contractor, you have a voice. You can't, it's not like a thing where it's like you're gonna get fired and you're gonna lose your job if you have other clients. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like you can have, and because they've trusted you as well. Like, I feel like that's one thing with creatives as well, especially if you get a really big client that you're not used to. If you get a client, it's because they've seen what you do and they like what you do. So if you turn around and you feel like, oh, I don't think if I suggest this, the person might not respond to it, and they have to respond to it because they booked you, because they liked you. They respected your craft enough to pay you for it. So they want your input. So you can literally say, okay, cool, I want to do this thing like this. This is how, but what do you think? Always ask your client, what do you think? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like when you're, I feel like this is where my project management stuff ties into it as well, because this is what you call stakeholder management. Like in any project, you have stakeholders. There's anybody with any stake in the project, anybody with any attachment to the project, or anything like that. So part of stakeholder management is finding ways to like communicate with the person and actually try and engage them with the project. If you make people feel like it's their own decision, they will more likely go with it. So if I'm having a conversation with you, let's say, even in terms of laying out the room right now, we can move the table slightly into the center of the room, and that would completely change the thing. But if you didn't see that, let's say if I walked into the room, I'd be like, "No, move the table." You might be like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No respect to the thing, bro.
I'm like, "Hey, why are you man doing that? That's wrong. Come do this." Yes, what I said is correct, but there's no way you're gonna listen to me. But if it's been a thing where it's like, oh, you're having a conversation about how to make the pod better, you're having a conversation about how to make everything look better, now I can turn around and say like, well, I think it'll be good for you to do this. Because now it's actually a conversation between two people rather than one person shouting at each other. So
I like your choice of word as well, because you started with what I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Letting you know it's an opinion thing.
Exactly.
There's no right or
everything
wrong.
you say is an opinion.
Because when some
you know what I
people do present themselves in that demeanor as you should do this, you should. It kind of comes off as forceful in a position of authority. Like this is what you have to do. So I like the choice of word there.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like when it comes to that, I feel like even in terms of books, right? Obviously, we're speaking about 5 levels of leadership before. Another one, actually no, sorry, this isn't from John C. Maxwell, but there is How to Win Friends and Influence. How to Win Friends. Carnegie. Dale Carnegie.
I said there was some confidence as well.
I thought that's what you said.
Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and 5 Levels of Leadership. There's a third book that I feel like is just, this one's another John C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of something. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's another book just about leadership, like different things that you have to be a good leader and all that sort of stuff. So in terms of, what am I even talking about?
You were talking about leadership.
You're talking about books.
Yeah. So in terms of like building relationships with people and learning how to interact with people, I feel like How to Win Friends and Influence People is just an amazing book to read. Like making people think like something is their own idea, giving people a good name and like making them feel good about themselves. If I tell you, oh, you guys are amazing painters, can you paint this for me? You're going to be like, yeah, I can do that. Do you know what I mean? Even if you've never painted before, you'd be like, obviously you would have had to paint before for me to say you're a good painter. But even if you didn't necessarily have the confidence in yourself before, because I've told you, I've validated you, you feel like, yeah, I can do this for you. Do you know what I mean?
I think that book's one of the greatest books.
Honestly,
for
it really
actually
is. It's
like
just,
literally, it takes you from like an ego mindset where everything's about you to everything's about them. And when you make something about them, obviously that's someone boosting your ego. So the ego's like, I feel good. Like this guy's, as you said, giving me validation, making me feel good. And that's everything about that book. Like, forget you. Let's talk about them.
You know what's funny?
I'm sick.
I read that book, but I feel like I read it prematurely because I didn't make notes on it, didn't highlight it. And every time that I think about that book, I think, wow, that book was good. But there's just some things that I don't remember. And if I don't remember it, I can't apply it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with repeating it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've literally got the book in my room still.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to go through it again.
Nothing wrong with going over it again. And I feel like when it comes to people management, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but there's another book called Surrounded by Idiots. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's that book like?
So it's about splitting people into 4 groups. You know when you hear like there's type A people and there's this and there's that?
Yeah.
So there's like blue, greens, yellows and reds. Don't quote me on this.
I actually don't remember.
It's been a while since I've read the book, but I remember the concepts. As far as I remember, red people are what you might call type A. They're very specific in the way they want to do things. So if you're approaching a type A person, you need to come a certain way for them to respond to you. If you're approaching a yellow person who's a bit more joyful, a bit more relaxed, and you need to approach them a certain way. And being able to group people, like being able to recognize people's characteristics and learn how to approach them, from that, you can start to
work on your skills.
It's like, you know, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of mirroring. It's like, you know, if you walk into a room and you want somebody
you can
to
start
listen
to mirror
to you,
the behavior.
if you want someone to listen to you, so I can literally just go like this. and then you start to feel like I'm looking at you a bit more, and I'm responding to what you're saying a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I didn't even know exactly what I was doing.
Do you know what I mean? Like you don't like, especially obviously that was very obvious because I literally just did it in one go.
Yeah.
But if I just lean forward slowly, move my arms slowly, you wouldn't have even noticed I even moved. But you just feel so much more engaged as well. Since I'm holding eye contact as well.
Eye contact,
you just feel
serious.
so much more engaged. You feel like you don't even know what's going on. Like you just feel like I'm on your level. And you don't even realize that I've moved.
We're having a serious.
Do you know what I mean?
And you know, I can tell.
You even
I can tell you're speaking to
I've
me.
moved my
like,
arm
bro,
to match you
that's
now.
what I'm saying. Like,
you changed your body position, I've changed mine, and I don't think you even noticed. So
Oh,
it's
I'm-
kind of
I'm-
like
It's not the mirror thing. We're stuck.
You men are just dazed in each other's eyes, bro. I'm sitting there like, yo, you see what I mean? A bit weird, you know?
But
Yeah,
now,
that's
but 100%. So you mentioned two types, type A, type B. What was the whole point around that book? If you learned how to work with each
because
type,
obviously if you can, obviously it's a stereotype. Stereotyping people it can be seen as a bad thing if you stereotype somebody negatively, but stereotyping people is a very powerful tool. Because if you walk into a room and I can't know everything about you, but I can be like, cool, you're dressed a certain way, you walk a certain way, you have a certain way you speak, you're probably this kind of person, you think this about yourself. If I validate what you already think about yourself, you're going to like me a lot more. You're going to respond to what I say to you a lot more. Do you know what I mean? But there's also a certain element of credibility as well, because I can come in like there's beg friend in somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like you can come in and then you'll be like, oh yeah, you're amazing at this. You're just thinking like, yo, what's wrong with this guy?
He's kind of forcing
Do you
it.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like if you come in, it's like you have your own thing that's respectable. Like you have your own, like you're coming from something like you are your own person. But I'm saying like, you know what, yeah? Your thing's hard. Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying the exact same thing, but it's a very different way of doing it. And now somebody's actually like, let me find out more about you. Do you know what I mean? And now you're actually building relationships in a more tangible way. So that's why when you learn how to, and see how I just nudged you, there's certain people I can't do that with. Some people you have to shake their hand. Some people don't even like being touched. Do you know what I mean? Learning how to interact with people makes them want to spend more time with you. Makes them want to, like, they feel better about being around you, if that makes sense.
And does that book teach a person how to cater to each type?
Yeah.
Hard. What's the book called?
Surrounded by Idiots.
You know what the thing, I've read that book as well. And I've got that on my shelf. I didn't make notes and highlight, but one thing that did confuse me about the book is when the types of people can cross over. So a person can be a bit of red and a bit of blue.
I was about to think
And
that.
then,
like, how that.
I was reading the
how
book
does
and I was
that
like,
work?
I'm sure people can be a bit of both of these things. And then I was just like, that's when it confused me on how to actually cater to them. Because there's just a lot of combinations.
I feel like my thing is whenever you take anything in, it's always about not just being able to regurgitate the content, but to understand it.
Yeah.
Like I know, like there's this guy I used to know that basically he said he would never move on from a book until he completely understood it. And by understood, like it was like this is to a ridiculous level. But he would basically say, if I hold this book in front of you, if I say, let's say you said you've read Surrounded by Idiots, and I ask you what's on page 40.
Oh, dearie me.
Do you know what I mean? He was saying
Who's that guy?
Austin Godsey.
Oh, I was about to say, if it was Colesart, because Colesart says something similar, he goes, bro, there's no point reading a book or like 10, 15 books for me to ask you about this book and you don't know F all about it.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's kind of like instead of, because some people say read a book a day. Or not read a book, like they say read a book a week or something. It's just like, but if you're doing that, you're not taking anything in. So my thing is, yeah, cool, you can make notes and stuff, but my thing is also about understanding. So it's like, yeah, cool, like you said, if you just follow the book completely, obviously it will obviously start to speak about hybrids and stuff like that. But it's like, if you only took, cool, if this person's blue, I speak to them like that. This person's red, like, as soon as you meet a blue-red, I don't even know if that works based off the colors. But if you don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But if you understood the content and actually took the principles out of things, I feel that's what I try to do a lot. I don't necessarily make notes on things. I try to take the principles out of it. Because once you understand the principle of something, you can apply it to whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if I understood the principle of, let's say, like literally this whole thing about mirroring as well. The whole principle of mirroring isn't just copying somebody. The whole principle of mirroring is meeting somebody where they are. So even if I'm on the phone to you, I can't copy your body language. I'm on the phone, but I can listen to the way you're speaking. Do you know what I mean? You're speaking quickly. You might be a bit panicked. Do you know what I mean? So I can either respond in a very calm tone to now bring you down to a calm level, or I can match you and raise you up.
I know that one. I
you know
probably
what I
keep.
And that's what I mean by understanding that's the concept of mirroring, because you can now, by meeting somebody where they are and then changing. So if I meet you on a calm, let's say if you're calm, I meet you on a calm level, and I slowly get more excited. You're going to slowly get more excited. It's like, you know, when you're in a room and you're having a conversation with somebody, it's a loud room. The person over there is having a conversation. He's speaking louder because you're speaking. So the person he's speaking to can't hear him, so he has to speak a bit louder. Now the person you're speaking to can't hear you, so you have to speak a bit louder. So people feed off each other without even realizing. So when you're able to understand why and understand that sort of stuff, you can now apply those concepts to different things. And I think that's the best way when it comes to like influencing people and stuff like that.
So you say mirroring, just to be sure.
I feel like, mirroring is the easiest one to get and understand.
Is there another one?
There's loads of things. Like I said, it's just about like listening to people as well. Like if I have a conversation with you, like apparently it's like there's been studies that it's like people that are the best conversationalists don't actually speak that much. They let the other person speak. So we can have a conversation, and I feel like that's one thing that's been about me as well. I'm not a loud person. I naturally let the other person speak. It's just where I'm more comfortable at. If that makes sense. So it's like I can have a conversation with you. You can speak for 20 minutes straight. You're gonna feel like, rah, I really enjoyed speaking to that person.
It speaks
Do you
about
know what I mean?
win.
So it's
How
like,
to win friends and influence
yeah, exactly.
people. Yeah.
It's like you come away thinking, rah, I really like speaking to that guy. But you didn't speak to him. You literally just spoke. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no conversation. He just listened to you. And and that's one thing, like there's two types of listening. There's listening to reply to somebody, and there's listening to understand what they're saying to you. I feel like most people listen just to reply. Like you're having a conversation. I heard what you said, so I'm going to say this. I heard what you said. But when somebody's actually understanding what you said to them, you can respond in a bit more of a way that's like, right, this person's actually hearing what I'm saying. This person actually gets it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people don't do that naturally. So
I would say girls.
That's a
yo,
dig.
they always got a reply, fam. Like, yo,
So
I heard
it's
what
like,
you said.
exactly.
Did you hear what I said?
True though. You do have a point.
So that's literally where it is. So it's like that's literally where it is. Like I feel
Don't
like
involve me in your
if there's two concepts to just take, is mirroring and like letting the other person speak. Those are my two favorite ones. It's just what comes to me the most naturally.
You know what? I didn't take you for a person that read a lot of books.
You know, I'm gonna make
don't
a
know
reel
why.
on that, by the way.
Do you like let's call it habit, routines? Do you journal? Any of those things? No habits, no routines, journaling.
That's the thing. I used to bang this stuff out,
Really?
but I want to get back into doing personal development and stuff like that. It's definitely very important. I think it got to a place where I was doing personal development for the sake of doing personal development. Not because I wanted to actually develop anything specific, but because it's just like, everybody's saying, oh, you're an entrepreneur, you should be doing personal development. If you're not doing personal development, then what are you doing? So I was doing it, bro. I'm on the bus with my audiobooks in. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching YouTube videos with like speakers and doing that. And it's like, cool, I'm taking in the content. Don't get like, the content is very valuable, but it was aimless.
Priceless.
I was watching a video on,
Wow. Okay, can I ask, why do you say it's aimless? Because that's the thing about personal development.
Yeah.
And I'm literally making a reel about it. But I said, like, everybody wants to improve.
Yeah.
That's okay. Improving is limitless. You have your potential. You set your cap. But it's like, they hear self-development, personal growth. They're like, yeah, improve. But what are you improving?
Exactly.
So that's why I've also said, self-development is great, but it's self-awareness of what you want to improve.
There's another book there.
And like it's like man, like, yeah, I want to go gym, I want to get bigger, but now you need to identify the areas of what's stopping you from getting bigger to actually then work towards them smaller goals that will get the bigger goal. And that's why I don't like when people say, yeah, man, just do some self-development. That's when you're consuming that content, doing this and that, but you're not really actually picking the areas you're weak at that would actually improve the goal you've set.
Yep.
So, for example, I can give you an example. Like, you may say, yo, I want to improve on going to the gym. So you could be like, yeah, I'm going to just start going to the gym more. But there's a lot more things that take part in going to the gym, such as you may think your sleeping habits now. Because if you're someone who's always tired and everything, that's the minute you say to yourself, what's actually stopping me from going to the gym, actually improving, you become self-aware because you start to look at things that are actually stopping you. So as you said, you want to go to the gym. What's stopping you? Cool, I'm going bed late, so I'm always tired the next day. Straight away, you fix going bed late, you're on the first step to self-development now. Another thing is your diet. You say, yo, I'm always feeling tired when eating heavy meals. So what do? You become self-aware of that. Now you're aware of that. You then fix that problem. So you start eat less, you eat more, eat food that's better for you, then you improve. That's why I don't get people like, oh, I'm on my self-development journey, but why are you improving?
Exactly.
Nah, I hear it.
Like, I'm improving everything. Yeah, but what specifically, bro? Like,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, like when I was doing it before, it was just aimless. Like I would click next video, and they're talking about completely different topics.
I hear
And
it.
it's just like, why am I doing this? So I just eventually stopped. Not because I just stopped, but because it's like I just didn't have a reason to do it anymore. So I've still obviously internalized it. It's like what you're saying about so like, that's actually really really good book. I feel like there's that core books that I really like, that 21 Irrefutable Laws, 5 levels of leadership, Surrounded by Idiots, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but Emotional Intelligence 3.0. And I feel like
I haven't even heard of it.
anybody,
that sounds like a bad boy book.
That's
a 3.0.
I might have to grab that song.
Emotional Intelligence 3.0. It literally speaks about, I don't know what 2 and 1. I don't even know there is a 2. And
I feel like I could speak to you all day.
I know, for real, bro.
The thing about it, we've already been speaking before the podcast. Like, so I feel like I can speak to this guy all day, bro.
No, so it's like emotional intelligence 3. Like it speaks about, obviously you have emotional awareness. So it's the ability to look inside yourself and actually understand. Like it splits it into 4 quadrants. The emotions of yourself. How well are you able to recognize your own emotions? You know, there's some people I just get mad. It's like they don't even know why they get mad. You know what I mean? Like they just walk around. I feel like there's a level of. I feel like it starts to.
I know some man like that, but it just gets me mad, fam. It just gets me mad. I'm thinking, yo.
But it's like there's a level of accountability that I feel like everybody needs to have for themselves. Like you need to have a certain level of accountability for yourself. And when you have an accountability for yourself, you need to learn about yourself. So when you start to think about your own emotional awareness, let's say something pisses you off, but why does it piss you off? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, let's say you're having a conversation with somebody, you feel like they weren't really listening to you. All you know is speaking to that person pisses you off, but you don't realize that it's because they're not. You don't like, maybe something happened in your childhood that you felt ignored or whatever, and but because you don't know that being ignored is a trigger for you, and because you don't know that being ignored is a trigger for you, all you know is you just get annoyed with certain people randomly. You have no clue what's causing it. All you know is I get annoyed. How are you gonna fix that? You don't even know what the problem is. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just walked into the hospital and said it hurts. What hurts, bro? Do you know what I mean? So it's like emotional awareness, and actually taking the time to reflect back on your life and whatever and stuff like that, and having the ability. Having the emotional awareness to look back on yourself and actually understand what's going on. It leads to something else. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you can now understand why you make certain decisions. When you understand why you make certain decisions, you can start to control them. So the next step is, once you've got a good emotional awareness, you can actually start to regulate your own emotions. You can start to control your own emotions. You know, people say they're slaves to their emotions. I just feel like that's weak.
I feel like it's a slave to your mind. That's another.
And obviously,
I'm sure that's what Nero talks about as well.
Slave to your mind.
Yeah, being a slave to your emotions.
So yeah. So yeah, that's my thing. So like, learning your own emotional intelligence, because then once you're able to master yourself in that way, you can start to look at other people and like your awareness of other people's emotions. So like, let's say all you know is whenever you come home, your girl's irritated with you. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking, what the flip is wrong with this girl, bro? Every time I come home, she's stressing me for something. But it's like, when you came home, did you say hi to her? Do you know what I mean? Did you ask her how her day was? Or you like, to you, she's just getting onto you. You just come home, and she's just getting onto you. But in reality, you haven't even asked her how her day was. Maybe she had something stress that she wanted to talk to you about. But you haven't even acknowledged her. So she feels ignored as well. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So, and now, but because you haven't even recognized, you weren't able to recognize that in her, So you don't know how to deal with that now. All you know is this girl's always on to man. This girl's always on to man. Da, 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 da. But it's like, when you're able to understand what you're doing to other people, you can start to understand why they react to you in certain ways. And when you understand why people react to you in certain ways. So if you know that maybe, as guys, let's say maybe your relationship with your dad isn't the best or whatever, maybe there's something like maybe, you know when you get that age, you feel like you can fight your dad or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a certain level, there's a look in your eye, do you know what I mean? And I feel like guys can just sense that. Like, you see, like, there's this little boy that's been running around your yard. All of a sudden, he's the same height as you, or maybe taller. And he's looking at you, that little look in his eye, like, I can take this. Do you know what I mean? So now all you know is your dad's always pissed at you, but there's no respect when you look at him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you walk into that, you look at you like, do you know what I mean? But before, it's like, you look at, and obviously I'm African, innit? When you're supposed to respect people, like, you're supposed to respect your elders in a certain way. So it's kind of like, if you walk into I'm not saying I've definitely been guilty of that myself as well. So it's like, when you learn to, let me just take a second, within myself, like, fix my face a little before I walk into this room.
Okay.
Just little things like that, it goes a long way in relationships. But people don't notice that because they don't have, like, they don't take the time to think, why do people react to me in a certain way? And I feel like all of that stuff is just emotional intelligence.
So what's some of the benefits you've noticed
of being able to be
emotionally intelligent?
You're able to control your relationships. But when I say control, I don't mean like manipulate, but you're in control of your relationship, because when you don't understand emotion, like, all relationships are just emotion, if that makes sense. Like, you're with this girl because you feel
It's all on feelings,
emotionally attached to her.
Wait, repeat that one more time. God, this is gonna make a great reel. Repeat that.
Okay, cool. All relationships are based off emotion. Like, you're with this girl because you feel a certain type of way about her. You're boys with your boys because you feel a certain type of way about them. All your relationships are based off emotion. So if you don't even understand emotion, you can't understand your own relationship. You can't fix your relationships if there's something wrong, because you don't even know there's something wrong. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're able to now understand why you feel a certain type of way when your girl does this, or when your boy speaks to you like this, or you're able to understand why your mum gets so upset with you. Like, you know that whole thing was like the chicken in the freezer thing, right?
What's
like,
that?
Oh, if you didn't take the chicken out of the freezer, and when
yeah.
your mum come back, now you gotta wait for the food to defrost.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, why are you so pissed off about this?
Because,
but it's like,
she's hungry, man.
obviously, yeah, she's hungry, but it's like, cool. Let's say the chances are, if your mum's gone out, let's say your mum's gone out on like a Saturday morning, the chances are she's like gone to the market or something like that to buy food for the yard. She's trying to do what she can to prepare. She's paying bills. She's dealing with all these different things. She's trying to take care of you and your siblings. She just asked you to take the chicken out the freezer. You couldn't even do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you're thinking, yo, why is this woman stressing me about some chicken, man? Just wait an hour. But it's not about waiting an hour. It's about the principle. She feels disrespected. She feels like you're not valuing what she's done for you.
Have you ever had that awe moment in your life? Because I had that moment similar like that, where my uncle slapped me on the head and he was like, yeah. And it was like, yo, this is why. And like, when I thought about it, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's where I had like a sense of emotional intelligence where I need to fix up, because like, there's a lot more going on than you actually think. So have you had a moment like that where you've noticed like, oh, that's why
I'm fucking up?
Yeah. Whereas because you have to think about it. If your simple action can make someone's life just that little bit easier, you already make the relationship better. Have you had a moment like that?
100%. But I feel like what I'm about to say might be a bit left, because I had a past relationship where I was with this girl and she was always pressed about Sam. You know what I mean? So it's like she was always annoyed, and it's just like there was always an issue. But I feel like it's because with a girl, when you're with a guy and it feels like you're not getting what you need from that guy, it becomes a fight. Everything becomes a fight for you. So you're sitting there, you're arguing with the guy, and it's just like, you know, he's not listening to a single word you're saying. So it's almost like, so in your head, you're like, why is this girl complaining about this? But she's not complaining about this. She's complaining about this. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't realize that everything that you've been doing has been adding up for her. So yeah, cool. There was that one day you didn't message her good morning. And I was like, what do you mean good morning, bro? Do you know what I mean? Like, so what? Your morning's gonna be a bad morning if I didn't text you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter, but to her it matters. It's something. because it's not about you saying good morning. It's about you woke up, you thought about her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for her, it feels like, this guy's woken up. He doesn't even think about me. Do you know what I mean? You've now gone through your day. She's messaged you. You're at work. You're like, all right, cool, I'll reply after work. You can't even take 5 minutes to message me. Do you know what I mean?
I'd rather see
So
that.
it's
I'd rather
like-
see that. When she goes, she said to me, yo,
Yeah, it's
can't
like,
sit
let's-
for 30
let's-
seconds. Like, bro, I'm just trying to do my work.
No, 100%. But as in, it's not that hard to say, babe, I'm at work.
That's
right
what I'm saying. When
I
you
hear
keep,
it.
2 hours.
when you put it into a bigger perspective, there's been times you ain't been doing nothing at that same day.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and let's say you live together and you drive or whatever, and your girl doesn't drive. She's gone. She's messaged you maybe like, waiting for the bus. And you know you're sitting at home playing PS5 or whatever. Now she's coming home cold. She's on that bus. The guy next to her stinks. There's some random kid crying in the back of the bus. The bus driver was late. Whole time you were playing PS5. You didn't even realize that she'd messaged you that she was waiting for the bus. She didn't ask you to do anything, but that was like a 10-minute drive for you. Do you know what I mean? So being able to now turn around and just be like, all right, cool. If for you, so like, let's say for me, that wasn't the exact situation, but for me, let's say it's been, to me, I haven't done anything. I woke up, I went about my day. Me not saying good morning to you isn't that deep. I was at work. I had a reason not to message you. It's that I was at home. I was enjoying my personal time. I didn't even notice your message. But for her, you've woken up. You're not even thinking about her. She's messaged you. You don't even care enough to take the time to reply to her message. She's telling you something about, I'm just waiting for the bus, but she knows you're at home doing nothing, and she's now stressing, trying to. All of that adds up to the point that it's like she's coming home, and now she's seen your shoe in the hallway. She doesn't like your shoe in the hallway. She's gotten mad about that, and now you're thinking, yo, this girl's this pissed about a shoe, bro. It's everything. Do you know what I mean?
I hear it.
I've definitely been in situations like that where things have added up, and I didn't realize what I was doing. So for me, all these things they're independent things that don't matter, but all of it adds up to the person that it's happening to. If that makes sense.
And all that starting from being emotionally intelligent. Wow.
You know, like that.
So it's like, so definitely for me, but this is one thing as well. So I actually understood. So when I became aware of what I was doing, I tried to change, right? And also, you know what I mean? Like, you have an argument with your guy, you be like, all right, cool, I'll do better. And maybe you do better for a day or two, but then you slip back. And I feel like, man, if your girl dumps you after I say this, that's not on me, I can't lie to you. But I kind of feel like if you're always having that back and forth where you're doing something for the girl, and maybe after a day or two, it's because you don't actually care about her that much. That doesn't mean that you don't like her. You might think she's a cool person, but whatever it is about her doesn't make you want to do
24/7.
Okay.
So it's kind of like,
I think that's 50-50 though.
yeah.
Because it's
Sounds
kind
like
of
you're trying to back yourself.
Nah, I understand what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
If like, yo, if you really and truly love that person, as they said, they would do it.
Yeah.
But I would also argue, not for my sake, so I'm just saying, disclaimer, not from my side, but I would also say, if you're someone who's doing something and like the constant demand can't meet with the new, let's say, new lifestyle you live,
100%.
they would have called for a time of adjustment for both parties.
Yeah, no, 100%. Bro, if I was to start speaking about the problems females have, we'll be here all day. I can't lie.
Because
Yeah.
I was gonna say you work 9 to 5 and you've got this creative business. How do you even have time for a relationship, bro?
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
important to you, mate. Time, I can't lie. Let's say I have 3 edits going on, and let's say I spend 6 hours doing an edit in total, right? After doing a 9 to 5 as well, let's say realistically, you're gonna spend 10, 11 hours of your day working. 9 to 5 is 8 hours, right? So if I've got 6 edits if it takes me 6 hours to do an edit and I've got 3 edits to do, that's 18 hours. So let's say I need to do all of that in a week. 18 divided by, let's say I don't work on the weekends. Let's say 18 divided by, that's 3 hours every single day, right? But if I now say, cool, Tuesday evening, I'm going to take you to go do this. On Saturday, I'm going to do an extra 3 hours of work. It adds back in. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
So yeah, you can be too busy. But I feel like if you're that busy, it's also a question of why are you doing this? Because if you're so busy, you know how it's like when people say they're making a living, but they're not living.
Yes.
It's like, how can you make a living, but you don't live? So what are you doing? Yeah, cool, you got all this money in your bank account, but when's the last time you and your girl went to do anything? When was the last time you said hi to your kid?
Fam,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like people that are chasing money, it's like a major factor of like, why are you chasing it? Like, cool, you're chasing it for the lifestyle, you're chasing it to have a luxury life, but you're out here missing out on your whole 20s, your early 30s, not living life, you don't have a relationship. Now you got all this money, you've got just girls coming to you, you can't filter which one's real, which one's not. And you're just thinking, bro, there's people in my past life that I could have probably built a nice connection with.
Yeah.
But I've got it chasing this money and now they're just unhappy.
I feel like it's just priorities, man. It's like, I feel like Austin was speaking about this recently, innit? About how it's like,
Who's sorry?
Austin.
Austin, yeah.
yeah, like how it's like, if you have a goal, yeah, cool, you have your business, you have your job, you have this. Your goal isn't I have a job and I have a business and I have a goal. It's I have a job, I have a business, I have a goal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They're all on the same level. If you do not have, let's say each thing requires.
So really and truly, is one thing more important than the other?
To me, no.
So you would say
You got to balance.
you would say your job, your business, and your girl are all
Same level of importance.
same. So basically, all three of them number one.
So yeah,
Number one ranks about, yeah.
yeah.
I feel
But
like
it becomes then it becomes difficult to obviously.
But then-
maintain, and it becomes a thing where it's like you need to understand how much time you have in a day. Realistically, you're gonna need a bit of time to yourself. You're gonna need a bit of time to chill. You want to spend some time with your friend. And it's like so like let's say for example for me, I can take on X amount of projects for my business every single month and do that outside of my job. But if I take that amount of projects, I don't have time to chill. Do you know what I mean? It's wake up, work, finish job, edit, sleep, wake up, work, finish job, edit, sleep. That's it. But if I reduce the amount of work I'm taking in, the amount of projects I'm taking on every single month, I can start to charge more. I can charge more per client, still make the same amount of money, take less work, and now have more time for myself. Do you know what I mean? And then it becomes a thing where, and if you're doing a business and it's doing that well, that you can actually start to reduce and change your price based off your lifestyle, then you also could potentially be in a position to leave your job if you wanted to. Yeah. So it's just about how are you assigning your time, if that makes sense. Like, and just genuinely being honest with yourself about how much time it takes for you to do things. 'Cause I feel like that's just something a lot of creative people do as well. Like, especially when I started off, I was like, yeah, I can do that for you. 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 But realistically, all the people you just said yes to, you can't do a good job for any one of them because you have so much time that you're committing to all these different things. You have 10 projects that you need to deliver in the next week.
That's crazy.
You're not going to do a single good job on any one of those projects because you're going to do, cool, this is all right, that's good to go, all right, good to go, all right, good to go. Whereas if you had 3 projects, you can do an amazing job to the point that you can, let's say, even if you were to assign it a worth, right? You could say, I've got 10 projects, but I'm only going to do a £50 quality job, right? That's going to be £500. But you could take 3 projects, do a ridiculously good job. Each one is £200 quality. That's £600. So you've saved yourself time, you've made more money, and you still got more time to do other things with your life. And you produce a better quality of work.
I want to ask you a question just about the girlfriend situation. So you spoke about you said you want them both. So you yourself would say your girlfriend, your job, and your business all on the same level. However, obviously, I've seen this recent thing from Stephen Bartlett where he goes before he goes in the relationship, he asks the girls to put her priorities first, put herself first, her goals first, her goals first, and then he comes next.
Yeah, of course.
Not on the same level, but next. What do you think of that?
I think the reason I said put your goal on the same level, and the reason I feel like guys and girls, if I'm chasing a bag, it's
Who comes first?
on a instinctual level, the bag comes first. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna push that girl to the side. I got work to do. Do you know what I mean? For girls, it's the other way around. The girls are gonna be like, oh yeah, I've got work to do, but my man needs this. So when you now tell yourself, put your bag first as a girl, you're actually kind of, so let's say obviously, I don't know let me put it up here for the camera. Let's say as a girl, instinctively your man's here, instinctively your man is, am I even saying that? Instinctively your man's here, your bag is here, right? So if I'm telling you, put your bag first, realistically, all you're probably doing is going like this. So it's the same thing here. If you're a guy and I'm telling you to prioritize your girl or at least put them on the same level, your girl was down here before, your business was here. Realistically, all you're actually doing is doing like that.
And to be honest, girls and boys, girls do see things differently.
Exactly.
When it comes to dynamics.
So when people are saying, yeah, a girl should put her bag first, definitely. But that's only because instinctively a girl is going to serve her man before she serves herself. Men, instinctively, because guys are protectors, they need to provide. So part of being able to provide is getting your bag up. So you're thinking, the most important thing is getting that bag, to the point that you start to push. And that's why men tend to sometimes push their family away. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I don't have time for my kids because I'm out here working so that they can buy whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? So that's the instinct that comes to a guy. That's not the instinct that comes to a woman. So it's kind of like, I saw this interesting thing today. I'm not going to say how accurate it is, but it's like, you know how in religious texts it talks about how women should serve their husbands, right? Yeah. And women should submit to their husbands. And then the guy was basically saying, instinctively, in an argument, who's more likely to submit first?
Submit first.
Yeah. Like let's say you and a girl are having an argument. Who's more likely to be like, all right, cool.
I'll just allow it, bro.
Exactly. Guys instinctively are just gonna be like, you know what, forget it. All right, cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. So guys instinctively submit first. So if you have to if you don't need to tell a guy to submit because he already does it. So you would need to tell a girl because instinctively she's not gonna do that. So it's kind of like understanding what both roles bring to the table. And yeah, cool. Some people might read that as why they're only telling women to submit because the guys are already doing it. So only women need to be told to do it.
And it's always like, as a man, you've already got too many stuff you're trying to do. And when you think you're a woman, someone who you don't want to marry, you just want to keep happy just in the bed, you're just like, all right, bro, all right, cool, whatever.
But that's the thing. No, I feel like that's a good point. That's what I was talking about before. When I was saying, if you feel like you're not able to maintain a certain level for that girl, it's because you don't necessarily prioritize her. And not prioritizing a girl isn't necessarily bad, but it just reflects what you might think of her. And I just feel like there's a certain level of understanding that needs to come with that, if that makes sense. So you can have a girl, have fun with her, but you know in your head she's not a priority. That's cool. My only thing is you need to actually know she's not a priority. If it's a girl that, cool, this is somebody you want to build with, then yes, she should. I'm not telling you to put you know when Fredo said you don't feed the baddest past, I'm not telling you to now put no badders on a pedestal. Bun that. What do you mean, bro? But if this is your girl, bro, that's your girl, then yes. But if that's not her, forget that, bro.
I feel like a lot of men forget that though, as I said before. Like that, your values, like they have their values, like they want a whole wife, a whole relationship, but they want to get rich. They put getting rich first. Yeah. Forget about the girl. No attention. Girl's unhappy. Girl leaves. Yeah. Now they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the bag now. Like that's what you was doing in the first place, bro. That's what you was doing in the first place, bro. That's why she left, fam. And that's why you've got no girl. That's why you get rich and you're still unhappy, fam. You get it? It's because you just lost priorities of your values. Yeah. And that's what I was talking to you about before. And I was just like, send her a message, bro.
Send her a message, bro.
This was like a few months ago. A few months ago.
But yeah, that's just how I kind of see it. It's like there's nothing wrong. Like, you know how you're saying like, oh yeah, this might not be the girl I want to marry. Then if it's not the girl you want to marry, then realistically she shouldn't be taking time out of your day.
For real, 100%.
Bro, that girl should be so low down on the list of priorities that you can't even see her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's just my thing. Obviously, when I say marriage, I don't mean necessarily legally marriage, but because obviously, some people don't want to get married anymore. So it's like, if that's not the girl that you really see something with, then what I was saying does not apply. That's what I was saying about, like, if you feel like you're not able to prioritize her, because I feel like when I said, cool, like she's asked you to do something, you feel like you can't do that consistently, the only reason you can't do that consistently is because somewhere within you, it just feels like too much effort. And you know how it's like cool, like you can meet a girl, she's been asking, oh my God, because this is one thing that I was doing a lot as well. Like she can ask you to do X, Y, Z, and you're thinking, I don't want to do none of that, man. But next thing you know, you meet next girl, she asks you, she doesn't even ask you to do it and you're already doing it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you just valued that girl more. And that doesn't necessarily mean that girl, there was anything wrong with her. It's just that she wasn't necessarily the one that was going to make you do that for her, if that makes sense. Which is why I was saying that, so for me, the emotional awareness that I wasn't doing it for that girl, and even though I was trying to, I just kept stopping. It was something that I had to force myself to do for her. And if you're having to force yourself to do something,
it's not real, is it?
It's not it, bro. Like you're even gonna resent her, because it's like if you're forcing yourself to put in a certain level of effort for her, you're just gonna feel like, yo, this girl was a job, man. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna be like, I banned this girl, and then you're just gonna dump her anyway. So what was the point of all that effort? So that's why I feel like part of emotional awareness is understanding your relationships with people. And when you're able to understand the actual relationship and what you want out of them, you can start to figure out where they should really be on your list of priorities. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do we go from cameras to relationships?
No idea, bro.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, for me, that was actually the end of the relationship when I realized that I wasn't able to prioritize her because she just wasn't it. She's an amazing girl. She's still one of the prettiest girls I've ever spoken to. She's amazing heart. She just wasn't her. Do you know what I mean? So I had to.
Did you ever find yourself compromising?
In terms of
where you thought you weren't being authentic to yourself?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you're forcing yourself to do it. If you're forcing yourself to do something, you're not being authentic to yourself.
Is that how you actually felt like, yo, fuck this, bro?
Yeah. So that was like a big reason in terms of why I decided to leave it, because it was just like, if I'm not like, me doing this for you is not what I myself want to do. So that's just another task now. This isn't loving my girl. This is a task. This is something I'm having to just do. And I feel like that's something that a lot of men don't think about. So you know when men, like, they end up in a relationship and it's like, oh, this girl's a drag. But you still end up marrying her. Now your wife's a drag. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know when man was like, oh yeah, I got go home to the missus. Fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's because you married a girl that you weren't really feeling that much. Yeah, cool, she was pretty. Maybe she cooked a certain food or or when you know what I mean, like in the bedroom she did things a certain way, so you're feeling that. Do you know what I mean?
You're gonna upset a lot of relationships. when this pod is out, a lot of relationships. That's what I'm saying.
Like, if your girl dumps you after this, that's not my fault, bro.
you didn't say that at the start.
They mentioned have switched off the pod.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, you've ended up marrying a girl. Unless, you know when people say that guys are dogs, I feel like, yeah, guys are dogs, but the only reason they're dogs is because they don't know how to find the girl that they really want. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're with girls that they're settling and they don't even realize that they're settling. So to them, it's like, you've gone through, okay, I'm not going to say 100 girls, but you've gone through bare girls and all you know is none of them are feeling a certain type of way. So you just think that's how girls are, but not necessarily. That's just how the girls you've been around are, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, you've now married this girl out of maybe convenience, or you've ended up in a long-term relationship with this girl. Because at first you were just fucking around with her. She was fun. You man were doing your own thing. It was good. And now you're 5, 6, 7 years down the line. You're in your late 20s. She's looking for a ring, and you're like, rah. You know what I mean? But coming out of that and be like, no, I'm not marrying you. It becomes a very difficult thing to say at that point. So a lot of guys will just actually stay with that girl just because of how long they've been with her. And that's when it becomes a thing where it's like, yeah, he's stepping out, he's cheating on you, He's cheating on you because you're not her.
He basically settled.
Yeah, he settled and he didn't even realize he was settling. And that's the thing, I feel like girls are a lot more conscious of settling, so that's why girls don't necessarily end up in that position a lot more. Like, you know when we speak about how girls say, oh, no guy wants me, but they got 100 guys in their DM, it's because girls don't settle. Like, they settle, like they say they settle in terms of looks and stuff like that, and but in terms of what they want from a guy, girls don't settle. You either give her what she wants or you don't. Some girls will fight you.
She'll find it somewhere else if that's the case. But
exactly.
she'll find it somewhere else.
That's what, some girls will be in a relationship. Let's say the guy has boom, 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 but he doesn't have this one thing that she really needs. She will fight him for that. But eventually she'll be like, you know what, fuck this, man. Do you know what I mean? But guys don't really have that because guys haven't sat down and thought about what they really want from a girl. So that's why you've now ended up in relationships where you're just thinking, you know, ban this girl, man. So, I mean,
it's like that though, because girls are hypergamous. They're always looking for something bigger or better or maybe the same. But I've seen a picture where it was like, yo, a girl could have Superman and she could be still thinking about what he don't have and what next man could have that Superman don't have. It's like, yeah, bro, crazy,
yeah, man. Like Superman's got kryptonite, man.
Yeah.
Which man ain't got kryptonite?
Which man ain't got kryptonite? You get me? That situation could be thinking though, like, yo,
I feel like that's
he's got X, Y, and Z, but yo, if he gets kryptonite, yo, he's gone, bro. Like, yo.
But I feel like that even that in itself is personal development that a girl needs to do as well. Like, I feel like
I don't really see as much girls do personal development as I do see.
Girls are even into personal development.
That's what I was about to say.
I don't think they are.
This might get
before you try and
get your
answer
podcast cancelled or whatever, but girls lack accountability.
Oh,
The female gender
Nah,
lacks
yeah.
accountability to a ridiculous extent. So it's like girls don't do personal development. That's why you have girls that act like they're 16 because girls don't have to grow up if you really think about it. You go to a certain age and let's call. Yeah, you can go to uni, you can get your job and but you're doing it out of choice. A guy will still marry you. Do you know what I mean? Let's say you got certain things in place, a guy will still pick you up and marry you. Whereas if you're a guy, you need to have boom, 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 boom before a girl's even gonna think about marrying you. So guys have to develop. So yeah, you have some guys that are a bit childish.
Yeah.
But all in all, guys have to develop. Girls don't. Girls can be met where they are. Guys don't get met where they are.
To be honest, it's a lot harder for a guy to become a high value man than it is for a girl to be like a high value woman. Because really and truly, for girls to be, you know what, I'm not even going to get myself cancelled. I don't really know what I'm about to fully say, but we'll leave that bit. We'll leave it there, innit?
Okay, cool.
What's 7 things that you can't live without? Everyone makes that face. They're like, right, didn't expect that shit.
Could you answer that
Things
question?
I can't live without.
Yo, let him answer first, bro.
7's a big number, you know.
I was gonna go for 10, but 7 just hit the sweet spot, innit? 10. Maybe because of Ronaldo, but yeah.
What are 7 things I can't live without? Lord.
I can name one for you.
What's that?
Your camera.
Yeah,
I don't know how you did say camera.
Nah, definitely not. I can't lie to you. But 7 things I can't live without. Let me think. Definitely one thing I would say is I can't live without. I don't know. I can't. This is actually difficult, you know. One thing that you can't live without. I feel like.
This takes some serious self-reflection.
Yeah, it really does. Alright, cool. What are your top priorities? I feel like relationships is something you can't live without.
Okay.
I feel like the relationships of the people around you, especially if you have good people around you, having the right relationships around you is just paramount. Like having the right girl with you can change everything. Having the right friends around you can build you up in ways that nothing else can. So actually building and cultivating good relationships is definitely something I can't live without. Another thing I can't live without is money. Actually, you can't live without money. Not only, you know, when people say money buys happiness, it's not about buying happiness, but it's about you have access to certain things. If you have more money, you can choose to do certain things differently. If that makes sense, like you can choose. Like, you know what I was speaking about clients before.
Yeah.
If I have clients coming in, I don't need to choose clients I don't like. So I live a happier life because I'm choosing the clients I want. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, same thing. It's literally the same thing there. So it's like money gives you a certain aspect, a certain outlook on life that you just can't get anywhere else, because money is a resource that buys everything else. So if you have a lot of money, you have a lot of resources. So money is something I can't. So yeah, relationships, money. I feel like I definitely want to say God or some sort of faith.
Okay.
Because actually, let me not. Because obviously some people aren't religious, so I'm just gonna say faith. Okay. So having no faith means that when things are tough, it's almost like you don't know where you're gonna go. But if you have faith in something, you just feel like this. it's gonna take me where I need to be. Do you know what I mean? You know when people speak about soulmates, right place, right time, all of that is predicated on something controlling. If there's nothing controlling, then soulmates don't exist. If there's nothing controlling, then there's no such thing as right place, right time. Your whole life is just based off of luck. And if that's how you genuinely feel, then what happens when, without that faith, that, let's say if you've broken your leg, you feel like, all right, cool, yeah, I've broken my leg, but God's going to help me fix it, if that makes sense. If I keep doing this, I know it's going to work out. Do you know what I mean? You have that faith to get up and keep going. Do you know what I mean? I feel like more than anything else, that's the most important thing when it comes to faith. Being able to get up and keep going is something that you just can't do without faith. And I feel like as society progresses in a certain direction, we lose faith a lot. So, and I feel like that's why also why a lot of people are more depressed these days as well. Because you're more depressed and even for me myself, I've noticed the times that I feel the most depressed is when I feel out of control of a situation. Oh. And the only reason you feel like you need to be in control is because you don't have faith that things are going to work out. So if you had faith that things are going to work out, you didn't need to be in control in the first place because something's out there looking out for you. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
And if you genuinely feel that something's looking out for you, no matter what happens, you're less likely. I'm not going to say you're not going to get depressed. Of course, things are going to happen. Like, it's the real world. Do you know what I mean? But you're a lot less likely to get depressed. You're a lot less likely to hold on to certain things. So that's why I say faith is definitely something I can't live without, because the world is peak. Especially if working in a creative field, everything's off your own back to a certain extent. If you don't message that certain person, if you don't produce a good thing, if you piss off the wrong person, that could be you done. Do you know what I mean? I hear it. So it's kind of like having faith, and it's like, even if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a large profile, certain people start to target you. Let's say, like you can let's say somebody knows you have money. Yeah. Like they know if they see you back roads, whatever, things can get a bit like they will find something to take off you. Yeah. But if you walk with a bit of faith, you're not gonna leave your house scared. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, there's just a certain level of assurance that comes with faith that nothing else can give you. Okay. So faith, money, relationships,
camera.
So you think for me, cameras are just a tool though. Like this is a bit. See, the thing is, I've always felt like this was a bit different, but I feel like it's actually not. Because like for me, one of my main things in life is that I would like to have a real family. That's like wife and kids, and
your own unit.
Yeah, something that you can take care of. And I just feel like work is a big part of your life. So if you work a job that you don't like, you're gonna take that home with you. You're gonna go home. You're gonna come home stressed from work. You're just thinking your boss has been shouting at you all day. You've had to do the next type of randomness and whatever. Okay, that actually gives me another thing. So you can give me. You've had to just do a madness. Now you come home, your kids are screaming. And these are the same kids that you've had to push yourself through for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or it's like you come home and the kids crying about they don't want to eat their vegetables. Do you know what I mean? Like you just spent 8 hours taking a whole bunch of rubbish so that this kid can eat. And now they're saying they don't want their vegetables. Wild. Do you know what I mean?
Man said they push you over the edge.
But it really will though. And that's why some people, it's like they have bad relationships with their kids and that. Because it's like, you're forcing over like some people, some people live for their parents. Yeah. Like they're like, my parents did this, this, and this. And obviously you need to be grateful for your parents, especially if you're first generation. You need to be really grateful for your parents. They've come and they've put you in a place where you have so much opportunity. Even if the lowest rung that you can be on in the Western society is still a very high rung back home somewhere, wherever it is you come from. Mm-hmm. So you should definitely be grateful for that. But I feel like a lot of people take that too far. They feel like because my parents have done all of this for me, I need to do X, Y, Z because that's what's going to make my parents happy. So, but what happens if you get a job that you don't like only because you wanted to make your mum happy?
I hear you.
One day, unfortunately, your mum's going to die. Your whole life has been predicated on making your mum happy, but now your mum's dead.
So what now?
You've been living for somebody else.
Your why is just gone.
Exactly. So now it's like, why am I working this shit job? It might be a very well-paid job, but it doesn't bring you fulfillment. which is what I'm actually going to say is my fourth thing that I can't live without.
Fulfillment.
You can't.
I don't
live
feel
without
like anyone can
fulfillment
live
because,
I don't
like I'm
feel like
saying,
fulfillment's. I don't think you can actually fulfill yourself though.
at all.
I mean, I feel like you can to an extent when you have dreams, goals, and aspirations, but I feel like there will always be more you'd want to fulfill.
That's aspirational. I feel like fulfillment is there's a certain level. There's a barrier that you're content with. Do you know what I mean? It's like if I got this, this, and this, I'm happy. And there's also like genuinely being able to genuinely feel happy with what you have, and that comes from gratefulness. I feel like if you're always chasing and you genuinely never feel content, it's because you haven't really taken the time to think about what you should be grateful for. And even if you're down in the dumps, let me put it like this, you have 10 fingers in front of you. There's people that live with 9 fingers. If you have 9 fingers in front of you, there's people that live with 8 fingers. If you have 8, there's people that live, do you know what I mean? There's always somebody worse. And I've always hated that. I've always hated, when there's but it could be worse. It's always been a bit of a bullshit thing. But at the same time, because saying it could be worse doesn't make things any better, but it should, the whole point of it is not to make things better, but to put things into perspective. Because the whole point of saying it could be worse is it's not supposed to make you feel better. Saying it could be worse is not going to take the sting out of whatever is happening. But what it does do is allow you to be grateful for what it is that you still have. So let's say you got kicked out of your house. You used to live in a nice house, 3 bedrooms, balcony overlooking the city or whatever it is. Cost of living hit, you've had to downsize or whatever. Now you're living in like a 1-bedroom flat somewhere, but you still have heating. You still have running water. You still have, do you know what I mean? I feel like if you're always chasing things, it's because you don't have any gratefulness for what it is that you already have. Okay. So being content is a very big thing. So if you have
like at that point, you would know when enough is enough.
Exactly. So in having enough doesn't necessarily mean you need to stop. But what it means is just like, when people go like through a near-death experience and they feel like they've died and then come back to life almost. The reason they always almost completely change is because they're now grateful for everything they've had before that. Everything else is extra. They've reached that threshold where their life has ended. They've died. Their life is done. This new life is just, everything is just extra. So even when something bad happens, it's like, well, I've already had my whole life. If something good happens, it's like, this is extra to what I've already had. So when you reach that level of, you should definitely have a level in your head where it's like, and realistically speaking, in the UK, I think it's supposed to be 80K. If you earn more than 80K, your standard of living, I think it's something like, don't quote me on this once again. This is just like from my memory somewhere. But it's like somewhere between, if you earn more than 80K but less than 150K, because of tax and incomes, outgoings, your standard of living is pretty much the same. So it's until you, because like obviously you have like bans, like tax bans, and then when you're making more money, you also have a lot more expenses. So what you're actually taking home at the end of the day isn't that much different. Obviously, there's going to be differences. Obviously, like this, come on, but it's not going to be so much different. So it's like, I feel like once you hit that, let's say if you're in the UK, that 80K mark, you're good. So if you have that, and the whole point is, when you're in a position where it's like you don't feel like you really want for anything. If somebody asks you, what do you want next? And you have to think about it, that means you're done. Everything else after that is extra. So if I'm saying, okay, so if somebody asks me what's next, for me it's, I want to be focusing on doing directing more. But it's like, once I don't have an answer to that question, obviously it could be that you're a bit lost, but if you're not lost, then the chances are it's because you're done. Everything after that is extra. It's not about you need to chase this because this is what you need. It's because this is what you want. You have everything you need already. You're finished, and that's why you struggle to think about what is your next goal is. But it's definitely that treadmill thing. I don't know if you've ever heard about like...
That was beautifully spoken, by the
way. What's a treadmill thing?
It's like, I think it's Tyson Fury that said it. It's like, you have all these different goals. You have this threshold. Treadmill, it's come to you. You've got that. But it's like, once you've gotten to a certain thing, there's nothing coming through. There's nothing coming anymore. You just feel like you don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing. So people like that is because they didn't understand why they were doing what they were doing in the first place. So that's what I was saying about before. When for me, the reason I would say a camera is not something I can't live without is because I don't do this for doing camera's sake. I do this because I want a job that makes me happy, so that when I come home, I don't have anything to take out on my kids because I've had a good day. Do you know what I mean? So even if something's wrong at home, and let's be honest, they're kids, bro. There's always going to be something wrong.
True.
Like living with another human, even like obviously, yeah, cool. The chances are you're gonna marry a girl that you really like or whatever, and but there's still another person. Living with another person is always gonna create conflict. So, but if I've had a good day, so it's like if you've had a really bad day because you work a job you don't like, and you come home, your wife's onto you, your kids are loud, they're doing weirdness. You're just gonna be like, bro, fuck all of this. Do you know what I mean? But if you've had a really good day, you come home, it's kind of like, all right, cool, I have time to deal with it. You still have that energy to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's for me why I do a lot of the stuff I do, because I want enough money that when I come home, I'm not looking around like, bro, this place is dead, man. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not feeling like, cool, I want to go to the store and I want to buy food for my kids, and I'm thinking I need to get a value meal or something like that. Like my kids talking about, oh, let me get like the Pringles. And Pringles are just weirdly expensive for what they are.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've gone up since
like
the cost of living, fam.
bro.
They used to be like a
pound,
pound, bro.
crisp, fam. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's kind of
like
£5. So it's kind of like, let's say with the Pringles thing, it's like your kid, you can buy that kid the Pringles. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you don't need to feel any type of way about it because you have the money to do it. So for me, that's what it was all about. Getting a well-paid job that I like so that I have a good day, so I have the capacity to deal with problems when I get home. I have the money to be able to get my kids, get my wife, whatever it is they want to get. My wife can choose to stay at home with the kids. She can choose to work if she wants to. Do you know what I mean? But when you don't have those choices, it builds onto you. So for me, that's all camera work is I like camera work. It can pay well if you do it right. So yeah, that's it. But if I had something else that I enjoyed doing that also paid well, then I'll just do that instead. Do you know what I mean? I don't really feel like, oh, I love this stuff. It's fun, but I'm not gonna say that it's the only thing I could ever do. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I feel like I can live without my camera. Yes, obviously I put a lot of money into this. The amount of time, like I love my, like when I say I love my cameras, you think it was like my baby or something. Do you know what I mean? Like having your own gear, like it becomes it just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like if you're an artist, like your paintbrush is your paintbrush. Do you know what I mean? If you're a football player, like you have like you have a ball that you usually use, or you have your lucky trainers or whatever. Like having your camera is having your camera. So it's not like I'm saying I definitely really like my cameras, obviously, but I can live without it because it was always just a means to an end to me. Like for me, what I want is not to live a life working with cameras. I want to live a life where I have everything I want, and I come home at the end of the day and I'm happy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know when people say you need to take care of yourself to take care of others?
Yeah.
That's like, for me, working is a big part of that. If you work in a job that you enjoy, that's taking care of yourself. Because you have that capacity, even if it doesn't necessarily pay a crazy amount. The 30K is the average UK income. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, realistically, a lot of jobs are like 27 to 35 anyway. So you don't need it to be ridiculously high pay and to have a certain standard of living. But if it's a good job that you enjoy, you come home feeling fulfilled at the end of the day, you're gonna live a good life. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna
what more do you need as well?
Exactly.
If that's all you need.
Yeah.
Facts.
So that's why for me,
I think that's probably why it's average though.
Yeah.
Because some people feel like, yo, yeah, I'm happy with this, and that's all they know.
do you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it's definitely a black thing, not necessarily a black thing, but a thing where it's like you push yourself. Like I don't. Okay, but let's say like certain groups of people are a lot more content doing certain jobs because this is their home. Do you know what I mean? They didn't have anything to prove. But if you've come from somewhere else and come to England, you feel like my parents have brought me here. I'm not going to be a janitor. Do you know what I mean? It feels like you failed at something. Whereas if this was your home, if you're a janitor, it's because you were a janitor. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you've come from somewhere else, you come from somewhere else because your parents wanted to give you a good life. And all you've been able to do is become a janitor. Do you know what I mean?
I get
so you feel in yourself like you failed. So that's why other people are able to do certain jobs and still come home and feel happy. Which like some man might look at a bus driver and be like, why is this guy so happy? He's just a freaking bus driver. Because that's what he wants to do. Do you know what I mean? There's certain people that work in Tesco's for 30 years and they have a bigger smile than a lot of millionaires because they're doing what they actually want to do. Yeah, cool. Stacking shelves might not be the most glamorous thing, but they're seeing people in their community every day. They see the old lady struggling with something, and they're happy to help that old lady. They see the little kids coming out from school, they're happy to serve the kids. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it might not be the most glamorous job, but it fulfills them, and they don't feel like they have anything to prove. Whereas other people that we come from somewhere else, we've come here to make something of ourselves. So we feel like we need to attain a certain level to be successful, and that's where we trip ourselves up because we've stopped thinking about. Because what your parents, yes, your parents wanted you to have a good life, but that good life was fulfillment. They wanted you to be happy. It wasn't that you couldn't be happy back home. It was just that you had a higher chance of being happy here. Which is why I feel like when I say to people, it's like, yeah, cool, yeah, your parents want you to have a good job, but the only reason they want you to do engineering, law, is because those jobs are stereotypically supposed to be well paid, even though they're actually not. But the stereotype is that those jobs are supposed to be well paid. If you have a lot of money, you're going to be happy. That's what your parents want. Is not for you to be an engineer or lawyer. They want you to be happy. So if you became a Tesco worker and you were happy, your parents have been successful.
Okay.
But a lot of us don't. We don't have the ability to see that.
True.
Right? So we need to have this, and that's why a lot of us are also a lot more depressed, a lot more like angry as well, because we just feel like we failed at something that we don't even know what it is. So yeah, that's why fulfillment is definitely.
That's like 5 or 6. But I think,
Oh yeah, true.
I think he said enough, bro.
he did name some other things, and I was like, yeah, he definitely can't live without that. Like gratitude, and you said something.
So gratitude.
That basically is gratitude,
Yeah.
So
And he said a few
it
other
was
things as well.
it was. I mean, if you add in gratitude, then it's gratitude, fulfillment, relationships, faith, money. That's really 5.
And you said family as well. Family.
Yeah, but relationships is family though.
Okay, yeah.
That was very good. But I'd like to thank you very much for coming out. Literally
I say
met
coming
him
down,
yesterday.
I know,
Met
for
him
real.
yesterday and had a conversation like this. It goes to show these networking events, you meet like-minded people.
You know?
Literally just smashed it, bro.
I just put the camera in his face and go, yo, what do you do for a living?
That took me out. I was like, what?
Man, I was like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's actually crazy that you're on this journey, you find people who are similar when you take that risk.
Yeah.
Bro, man.
Yeah, it's been beautiful.
yeah,
Literally, even just talking about self-development, relationships, all things that we can relate.
Covered everything.
I feel like anybody.
Everything.
Obviously, I mentioned a bunch of books, but I feel like emotional intelligence is the most important one you can read.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab
3.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like some guy called like Travis Bradbury or some weird name like that. I can't be like. If you've made it to the end, you can find me on Instagram at Mr.Sixthman, and that's obviously spelled out SIXTH.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming on, bro.
It was actually a good experience.